So, truth be told, I saw Wicked for Good twice, and I am absolutely in love with it. I think it was a good, um, interpretation of the second half of the Broadway Act 2. My biggest complaint from the Broadway was that the second half was extremely rushed, and you couldn't really, you know, take a breather and like process what just happened in whatever moment was happening. And although the movie is fast paced, I think it managed to, add enough story where it didn't drag out, but you were okay with, it being so action packed because, this is, you know, Wicked for Good we're talking about. The first part was supposed to be the slow burn, storytelling, you building it up, and then the second half is like around the Wizard of Oz time, like basically in Wizard of Oz, but with the witch's perspective. And you're supposed to like have it fast paced because um is the Wizard of Oz, and there's always something happening. But in the Broadway, it was too rushed for me. Like I can't really enjoy it all that much, even though I want to, because I think the storytelling is the best in the second half. It's just the pacing just really brings it down. I can't really get to enjoy it all that much. And like I said, the storytelling is at its peak when it's the second half. It's just the the pacing is just so rushed. Although I think the songs in the first act are better. Um, I prefer story like when it comes to storytelling, the second half is better. And to be honest, this kind of works the same way with this one. Um, I think both movies are like fantastic. Um, to be honest, I prefer the films over the Broadway show. I love both. It's just I prefer the movies. I think because I'm just so used to the movies. I was never able to go see Wicked in on Broadway growing up, and I saw it after I saw the first film, so I'm more familiar with the movies, or really the first movie because Wicked for Good just came out, but I'm more familiar with the film adaptation. So you know, I I know, like, I usually go for the original versions of like Broadway's or like movies and stuff when movies getting remade and stuff like that. But in this case, I prefer the movie over the Broadway, if that makes any sense. But I still enjoy both. I will still watch, you know, the movie, but I would still, see the show if if asked because I enjoy both. But um yeah, I think when it comes to storytelling, the second movie is better in that sense. But when it comes to like the music, um, the first movie has better songs. Although I enjoy both movies like soundtracks, I love both movies and their songs. It's just when I lean like when I think about like songs I want to go to like to listen to on like a rainy day, like I just prefer the first one. And you should listen to the first soundtrack first before you get into the second one. But again, I think the songs are just catchier, but I still enjoy the second half songs. Although if you put them on as a whole, which is gonna sound weird, but as long as your mind is my all-time favorite song in Wicked. So it's weird to say that I prefer Act One songs, but my all-time favorite song of the entire story is As Long as You're Mine. I'm just someone who loves ballads, and I am a sucker for romance and stuff, and you know, it has a weird 80s feel. Like I know like the movie version sounds different because it has to sound like a movie, like it's coming from a movie, but when I listen to the Broadway version, it kind of sounds like it's something from the 80s, like with the um music. I don't know how to explain it, but it has this weird 80s feel to it, and I really like it. And um again, like I said, I didn't mind the fast pace and the Wicked for Good second half of the story, because I think they added enough story to it where it definitely helped with some things. Because another thing that I wasn't crazy about when it came to, actually two things, was Nessa Rose's story. I think she had one scene in the second half and she was dead, and I didn't like that. I thought there should have been more to her story and trying to like explore her and Bach's relationship. And when I heard that they were going to suggest a new love interest that kind of likes her, or actually does like her, but she doesn't know it, and she's just too obsessed with Bach, and that's the issue, and it's not her disability that's the issue. I was really excited because um, I felt like her arc in the second half wasn't explored enough. And although she doesn't have a lot of scenes here either, you still have enough to work with where you're not too upset that she's not in the mood that much. And although um she's not like a main character, her character is still important to the story because that's how the Wizard of Oz is like you know motivated. Like she needs to die in order for the Wizard of Oz to even happen. So she is an important character. She might not be a main character, but she is an important character. And I like to add additional scenes. I wish they would have explored the character that was supposed to like her. I think they had scenes for the first movie, but they deleted them, so they really couldn't do too much with this one, and that's really disappointing because I would have liked to seen more of like the love interest that's supposed to like her. I figured out who it was. It was that other guy. I don't know his name, and this is why I feel like there should have been more exploration with that character because you know he's supposed to like her, and the whole point of her arc is it's not her disability that's the issue, it's her obsession with Bach. And I'm genuinely a little disappointed about the I'm Not That Girl reprise. I felt like in the Broadway it was too short and they moved to As Long As You're Mine too quickly. I know I love that song the best, but it's just I wanted more build up to it. And I wish, you know, um, Glinda could have sang more of it. Like, kind of like, I know reprises aren't supposed to be too long, but I would have liked to seen like, more. So I was like excited to hear that the soundtrack was gonna have to be 2 minutes, but then I realized she was just sorry, those are my birds. But I realized that quickly that Ariana was just gonna sing like from the Broadway, but they're going to extend the instrumental part, I think, because to build up As Long As You're Mine, which I appreciate, but I'm kind of bummed out that she didn't get to sing more. Like, I know, like I said, reprises aren't supposed to be too long, but I wish she would have had more to sing besides, like, Don't Wish, Don't Start, Wish You Don't Even Lose the Heart, and, There's a Girl I Know, He Loves Her So, I'm Not That Girl. Like, I wish there was more to sing, and, like, her perspective to some degree. Like, you know, I don't know, something about, she's the girl he truly wanted, something like that. I'm not the best like music writer thing. Like I'm not the best at kind of writing songs and stuff, but I would have liked to hear at least maybe a line or two more, maybe three. But I'm not too mad. It's just only a small nitpick, but it's the only thing I would have changed for the film. They could have taken advantage of that and like give her more to sing. But I'm not too mad. It's just like a small nitpick. And again, I wish they would have explored the other love interest more. But that too is also a small nitpick. It's just like stuff I'm not crazy about, but it doesn't ruin the film for me. But yeah, I would give this a solid 10 out of 10. Um, I love like they're not, it's not a sequel, but if you had to judge them like separately as a film, I love them both the same. I rank them both 10 out of 10s. It's just there's a good balance because the first movie has in my opinion, better songs, not excluding, really excluding As Long As You're Mine, because, in my defense, it's not in this first half, but it's just my all-time favorite song from the soundtrack as a whole. But story-wise, the Wicked for Good has better storytelling, so they both each have something that I really enjoy, and to me, they're equal. And I don't see Wicked for Good as a sequel. I just see it as, the second half of a movie. For the past year, we watched an incomplete movie, and now we finally have it. And I can't wait to buy it on digital and Blu ray. So, yeah, 10 out of 10 film.